Tonight on the Cal and Dom Talk Nonsense podcast.
With an online following of over 69,000 people, 3.3 million TikTok likes, football chants amassing over 45 million views worldwide. Tonight, we delve into the world of Ppoc. Leaving no stone unturned, we talk the dark side of internet fame, football songs, and most importantly, nonsense. Hello everyone and welcome to Series 1, Episode 3 of the Cal and Dom Talk Nonsense podcast. As you can see, we have a very special guest with us today. It's Pete BOC. How are you doing, Pete? You okay, mate?
I'm really well. Thank you so much. Yeah, cheers, guys. Really excited.
Yeah, so we're really excited to have you on, buddy. Obviously, I just want to get straight into it, to be fair. Obviously, with the TikTok career and everything going on over there, just tell us a bit about yourself and about why you're on the podcast.
Career is an interesting word, by the way. So, I've obviously gotten in touch with you guys a couple of times over the last few weeks, and I really appreciate all the support that's been offered from yourself. So, just got the opportunity to do a podcast. I've never done one before,
Really?
And so I just thought, why not? Like, I've been on the radio once, I've been in the news once. I was like, let's go and give this media a go as well. So, yeah, I'm just really excited to kind of see what it's like to have to sit here and listen to questions and see what you guys want to grill me on, and just get out of this as much as we all can.
Definitely, mate, yeah. Dom, have you got a question for Peter to get things going, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, appreciate you coming on. It's a difficult skill coming on and talking for 45 or so minutes, and I'm sure by the end of it we'll all be drained and wanted to leave the chat. But like I say, I do appreciate it. But like, how did because obviously you're massive on TikTok right now, like compared to like, well, compared, like we're looking at your figures before, 3.3 million likes. I mean, that's something that we can only dream of, me and Cal, to be honest with you. Yeah. How did it all begin?
When I joined TikTok, I got inspired by what I kept seeing on TikTok. So I had TikTok for about a year before I ever posted, before I did anything. And I was looking at all this content and what people were doing on there. And what I saw a lot of was sort of FIFA and football kind of things. And it made me think, well, I could do that. And it was in lockdown 3, return of the lockdowns, when I just suddenly thought, well, actually, there was a video. You guys may have seen it, you may well not have done, that James Milner put on his social media. I think he put it on Twitter or something, where he had done a starting lineup of objects around the house.
I did see this. Yeah.
Which
I've seen that. Yeah.
I just thought, one was hilarious, but also because it was James Milner, it just made it even funnier. That was the first thing that I ever put on TikTok, and I thought, do you know what? I could do that. Like, why not? Like, have a bit of fun with it. Did some FIFA-y kind of things. I never really showed myself, though. I didn't show my face. And then I came up with a couple more ideas that I thought would be quite funny. Did some stuff about like Nintendo 64 and all this sort of retro-y video game stuff. Really, really unexpectedly went viral after about 3 weeks being on TikTok for the shaver video, which is still pinned on my profile. Yes, yeah. You may have seen it. That was a surreal time to sort of. So I'm sat there with about 68 followers, but I've had like 4 million views, and it was just like, this is really weird. And I was working for Bristol City Football Club as a teacher, and kind of people were coming up to me randomly like, Pete, is that you? And I'm like, yeah, that is me. Since then, so that's sort of where it started. That's been about a year and a half ago, and it's just kind of continued. Different ideas, did things about teaching, being a PE teacher, and then kind of fall into this trap of making football chants and football songs.
I think
when you saw the number 4 million, did it feel like 4 million people were watching you, or did you just see it as like a number? Because I can't even grasp that feeling.
So, something that I had done myself, cheating. So when you first start, you really want views. You don't really care so much about the interaction, because I didn't really understand TikTok in that sort of sense. I just thought, I just want views. I want people to see this. So what I did was I loaded up my own TikTok profile on a video on my Mac, and just let it run for about an hour and a half. Just let it run in the background. I was just like, screw it, I'm playing FIFA. Let that run in the background, right? Came back, no views. I think I had one. So what interests me about the 4.1 million people who watched that within the space of about 4 or 5 days was going, that's 4.1 individual people who've watched it.
Yeah.
It's not just like one person who's watched it 30 times because they enjoyed it. It's incredible. So then I got really boggled down with sort of that video. I think it's about 30 seconds. So I'm like, that's 2 million hours of people watching me have a shave. Like,
It's easy, isn't it?
it's a bit mental. But what it did, because it didn't have the profile, because I, as I say, I had 68 followers when that was going big. I wasn't making any money. I had no connections with Philips, the brand of shaver that I was talking about. So I didn't know really what to do. So I just kind of talked about that for about 4 or 5 days afterwards, just be like, guys, this is amazing. This is mental, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, it was a surreal time to think about 4.1 million people. What was especially strange is it seemed most of them were in America, because the questions and stuff that I got, a lot of them were over in the States or Canada. So I was like, oh, cool. Like I've reached it's a multinational thing. It's not just people in the UK. So yeah, it was really, really sweet. It was an awesome time.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it, when you think about all them views from all over the place? But obviously, it's brilliant, and like you say, for different kind of things as well, not just defined to one thing. You mentioned all the different types of videos that you've got up there, and I'm a massive fan of your TikTok account. My missus is upstairs; she's a big fan as well. And I think what started it for me is one of the last things you mentioned is the chants, obviously. And I'm a Liverpool fan; you're a Liverpool fan. The first one I saw was of our new signing, Darwin, and I don't know. I think we just share this mutual love of the guy. I love him to pieces. Like me and Dom are in a group chat with our friends from uni, love him to bits. And we was very excited around that time when he was signing for us. But just going on to the chants, obviously they've become such a massive thing now. And I think I read the other day about starting on Cameo. You're doing quite well on there now. And it interested me because I remember last year I got a cameo of Phil Thompson from my old man for his birthday. And I just, as soon as you said it, I was like, I'm thinking about it. For Tom, I wrote pretty much like a semi-script for him of what to say over my dad. And he did a brilliant one, to be fair. But I thought how hard it must be for you. Because I imagine what you're getting is like, West Ham fan, song about Jared Bowen, please. And it's like, you've just got to think of that whole chant then, as opposed to just getting it through and reading what someone wants you to say. You've actually got to go and work on that for however long and then make it happen for them. It's just the whole idea of it is just brilliant. Like, how has that been for you on Cameo?
Cameo has been an incredible thing that's happened, and it's really, really recent. It's been 3 weeks and a couple of days or something. So it's literally been really, really new. I actually signed up for Cameo quite a while. You have to apply to have an account on there. I asked quite a while ago. I want to say a year ago, maybe less than that. And I got a no, fair enough. And then I reapplied a few weeks back and sort of said, look, if you look at my account, I get song requests for different teams, different players, whatever, about every 15 minutes. It really is about as often as that, like as in through the entire day. It's constant. That's what I get all the time. And they said yes, and they put me in. And it's really weird. They give you like a secure access key. And they were like, when you sort of come into the account, it gives you some ideas of how you can, because the first thing you have to do is set up who you are and what you do. So it gives you four kind of examples. And the examples are from Neo, Melissa Joan Hart, and two other people I just can't remember off the top of my head. I'm just kind of like,
yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it's not you, is it?
With Neo.
So take it though, yeah.
Yeah, take it. You take it. What's been most sort of difficult, I suppose, about Cameo is, you're right in terms of what you said. The requests that people ask for, sometimes a few people actually tell me, just say this. Some people will say, can you roast this kid about the side of his head? I'm like, sure, no worries, like, that's fine. That's really easy. But yeah, there's a lot of, do you know what the most difficult one? And I've only had to turn down 2 people so far, which has been quite nice. But the most difficult is when people say, oh, I do FIFA Pro clubs. Can you make a chant for all the people in my club? And they'll give you 11. So they give you 11 full name, first name and second name, and their position. And some people will go into the detail and be like, he plays a cam, he always scores loads of goals and all this. And I'm like, it's just not going to work, guys. Like, there's just absolutely no way in the world that I can do this. Like, I could sit there for hours and probably do it, but not for the money that I'm being paid to do that. But yeah, Cameo's great. I absolutely love it. So, in fact, literally, this is so funny. I've just got a request from Bat Colin coming in. He loves my TikToks. There we go. So that's literally just coming live right this second. But it's amazing, and it is a great way of trying to just increase the amount of people who can kind of get the most out of this content.
Yeah, and I think that me and Cal obviously will do a little chant for you in a bit. I'm so excited. We've just done the one, and my God, it took me all day to figure out what song to do, who to do it for, because we were like, should we do it for a specific player? I don't even know. Like, and you do it like 3-4 times a day. I'm like, absolute pro at it. I can't. Yeah. I'm just like, I don't want to be in that sort of line. I don't want to take, first and foremost, I don't think I'll be as well equipped at doing chants.
I agree.
But obviously, you're on TikTok.
Do you know what, guys? What I really find the most creative and fun side of doing it is it's not that often that I'll do 27 Reasons or any of the more famous songs. I think just any old randomy songs. Like I've done the national anthem. I've done like so many songs, and I send them off, and I'm like, that might be a bit crap. They might not be. I know they're 5 stars. Thanks, Pete. This is amazing. Yeah. And I'm like, oh. Fair enough, you enjoy that then.
Who did you do for the national anthem?
So this guy wanted, oh God, what was it about? He wanted something to do with Leeds. And I got the description that he supported Leeds, that he loved Darwin Núñez, okay, and that he's a massive historian. And I was like, how am I going to get the word historian in there? And then that's why it made me kind of go, send him his story. And then I was like, he's a historian, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, let's see if I can get away with doing it.
Yeah.
So the whole intro was all about Leeds. So got into talking about him. His name's Connor and all this sort of stuff. Sent it off. Done. Hello. Like, it's just
that's just brilliant,
really,
isn't
really
it?
Random.
I mean, it's like he's just, like that almost seems like a improv segment. Just name me a team, name me a player, name me an occupation. It's just like, yeah, and then almost like an improv sort of thing. But obviously you're on TikTok, and I believe you're on YouTube as well. I think I subscribed the other day. The goals for social media, though, because obviously you were on Twitter. We can discuss that in a little bit as well. What are your goals for social media? Is there any sort of end goal to this?
Good question. So it's really interesting in my profession. So it's very difficult because I'm a teacher, because I'm a PE teacher. You can't have Instagram. Well, you could have it, but it's on private, so it's not really worth doing it in terms of trying to be a social media presence, as I've tried to be, which kind of really limits all of the things that you can do. But YouTube and TikTok are slightly different forms of media, and in terms of what I do for work, it's actually still okay. So it's still completely fine to use those. So the end goal, I suppose, is to try and build my profile to a point where this becomes more like so you said to me at the start of this, my career, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's not there yet. It's still like a part-time job. That would be the dream. That would be an end goal. Would be to say, either this is too much work, it's too much effort, I'm just going to stop, or I'm in a position where actually I maybe only need to work part-time. So at the moment, I'm to work full-time and do this part-time.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to claw into enough energy and income, just to be blunt about that, from those two main sources, from YouTube, from TikTok, from Cameo, to hopefully maybe make a bit of a social media.
I think that's the end goal for everyone, though, because obviously I do YouTube myself on my own personal channel, as well as this one with Cal. And I think, ultimately, we all love what we do, and we all have this as a hobby. But ultimately, you want to get something back in return of it. And sadly, cynically, that is revenue, isn't it? At the end of the day, but it's not to say that we all do love what we do. It's just you want to get something in return of what. And if you can combine the two, perfect, isn't it?
I'm not big-headed enough to ever think. I don't think I'll ever be in a position where I don't have to work and this is all I do. I just don't think it'll ever happen. But you put in a lot of energy to this. So you guys, once this recordings or whatever, you're going to have to go away, put your edits in. There's a lot of work that goes into it. Put your thumbnail at the start. There's things that people kind of don't maybe acknowledge. The amount of hours it goes into putting something of good quality onto YouTube, onto TikTok or whatever. So yeah, you do want something to kind of come back because you're putting in work, aren't you? Like, you want to have that kind of reward.
Definitely, mate. And that's it. I think that's what, like Dom says, that's what everybody wants to do, isn't it? Everyone that's involved with it, because I love doing this. Do you know what I mean? Every night that we do it, I'm always looking forward to it in the day. But just moving on from that now, Pete, if you don't mind, there is some aside to this, the TikTok and the YouTube and the Chant that I did want to speak to you about. I was really interested in getting your side of, really, because as I've mentioned already, being a fan of it, I've seen a lot of how it's gone and how it's gone viral in certain areas. And I think we had a conversation about it. I was on my holidays and I'd had a few drinks on my holiday, and I'd seen the Red Men. I think it was the Red Men TV, and they just posted something about using Pete's video. And I was like, I don't need this. I was fuming. So I just sent them a message. I was like, what's this all about? I tweeted them back. I got a few people having a bit of stick back. And I just thought, it took me back to when you put that video out saying about Everton and United fans and that I'm going to take the Chants down because, they'd had a go and they'd won, I think you said. And then when they got to the video towards the end of the week where you said, I don't care, the Chants are back. I just remember listening to it, and I thought, that's so brilliant, that, and it made me so happy to see that you'd said no to him. But I'd just like to ask, around that period of time, how tough was it for you as Pete, the guy, having to hear or read these types of things when you're just doing something that you enjoy?
First of all, Cal, if I can just sort of say while we're here, like, I really appreciated that. And that video you sent me really, really did actually like stir within me. Like, it's been in my drafts for a couple of months now, like my reply to that video, because I actually filmed a reply, and I was like, yeah, he even got his missus involved and was. Anyway, I'll post that one day, I promise.
Oh, please.
No, I tell you what, I first got wind of it when someone had written a comment on one of my videos saying Fun88. I don't know if you know those guys. So they're the shirt sponsor for Newcastle United, and they're obviously a gambling thing. So they're fun88.com. So they had posted a video on Twitter.
Right.
It wasn't particularly brutal at all. I think they captioned it something like "relegation's not enough" or something like that. That's a little bit funny. I'm like, it's not massively offensive. It's just a bit of a like, wow, what are you doing, Pete? That's awful. So when I saw that, I thought, oh, that's really interesting, because you can't download my videos. I don't allow access for people to download them. So people are having to screen record in order to put my stuff onto other platforms. And so I kind of was like, okay, that's interesting. So I got in touch with those guys. Never really got much of a response from them, to be honest. When I started flicking through and seeing comments and what people had sort of said, and a lot of it was, like I said at the time, a lot of it was sort of rival fans, understandably, and I've had some time to reflect about, well, yeah, it does make sense that it's going to be United fans, Everton fans, possibly Chelsea fans or whatever. When I saw all of it, though, my first thought was, I have a son, so my son is 2.5 now, and I thought, well, he's obviously way too young now, but in a couple of years, he'll get this, he'll understand social media, and I don't want people to be like taking the mick out of him because of me. And that I felt very, very conscious of that, rather than so much myself, because I was like, okay, well, I can take a bit of stick. I was like, I can't do it to him. I was like, it's not fair for him to grow up and go into primary school and people be like, is that your dad? And you know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to have a really negative profile, a bit like some of the high profile people have got on TikTok. And I don't want to name names, but I think you can probably think of a couple of people who have that situation.
Yeah.
Then after a couple of days. Sorry if I've gone on too long. After a couple of days of thinking about it, I was just sort of thinking about how I perceive this to other people who did like me, and also to students, because I've obviously worked in schools for 10, 11 years, and I work a lot with young people. And I was like, well, if I say openly, I've said in the video, I'm taking all my videos down. I can't, I don't want people taking the mick. I don't want those sort of things said about me. I'm like, well, actually, that's people being, it's not really bullying, but like being horrible to me, being a bit nasty, and then me having to recoil, and like I can't do the thing that I enjoy doing, that I feel I'm okay at doing, and that ultimately, like, it is a form of revenue. Like that's part of why I do TikTok. It is a part-time job essentially, and those chants were doing well. Like they got good numbers.
Yeah.
So after, I think, what was it, 5 days, I think, and that's when I just went,
so, yeah.
No, I'm not accepting this. And what I'll do is I'll change, and this is what I've done over the last few weeks. I'll change the way that people try to perceive me by also including videos of me being quite normal. So,
right.
So I've got this kind of wacky, the Family Guy one, which I knew was crazy and I knew was really silly and stupid, but also as a talking point and very funny, to also kind of trying to do content where I'm actually just talking normally and just be like, do you know what, guys, I am just a normal person. I've replied to most people's comments and say, if they've said something bad, I'd be like, yeah, I know, it's awful, isn't it? The singing's awful, blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, if I can take some more things in my stride, then I get to win and they get to kind of be like, oh, he's actually all right. I can't really be that horrible to him.
Yeah, and that's what I think I've seen, especially recently. I commented on one of your videos the other night and it made me chuckle. I can't remember what the guy had put, but it was just a response to him, and it was in no means like fighting back at him or anything, but just the way it happened. It was like you just said, like, you just win. So like, without being horrible or impolite or anything, but the responses, or if you, the way that you reply to when people might be being horrible on the comments or something like that, every time I read it, it just makes me laugh, because I think that guy must be sat there now like, I've not offended him. I haven't offended him. What can I do now? And the reality is, if you're just not bothered by it, when you mention bullying and things like this, but they hate it, and then half of them, what I've seen, they come round to it then and they go, oh, do you know what I like? A few of them have followed you, haven't they? Since
well, if you don't mind me, sort of, I don't want to. So there's a guy, have you seen the Everton guy, the one who's I've gone?
Yeah.
Have you seen that? When loads of Real Madrid have used that sound, loads and loads of big famous multi-million accounts have used his sound, and he's a really funny sound guy, and he is a big Everton fan.
Is it Still Gang or something? Is his name? Or
yes,
Still
well done, mate.
Yeah,
well done.
Yeah.
So he I should know his name. It's really I really should know his name. But he actually made a video content reply taking the piss out of me, and I messaged him, but I think I must have got the notification almost straight away, because I was like the first person to comment on the video and said, oh mate, fair play, put like a couple of LOL symbols, it's all a laugh in it, like it's it's not really serious. And because I said that, he replied to me, he was like, oh, that's cool, mate, like sound, at least blah blah blah, all good. He messaged me back a few more times. He then followed me, and he's got like a huge profile. He's got hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers himself. And then when I made that video that we were just talking about, where I've said, do you know what, I don't want to see these kind of comments. I'm going to take all my videos down. He actually personally messaged me and said, mate, I'm so sorry that I made that video about you. I've taken it off my account. I'll back you all the way. And I was like, that's absolutely class. You know what I mean? Like, just brilliant, someone with that magnitude of following, who doesn't need to come and bother someone like me, but fair play to the guy. Like he's a really stand-up sound lad. Actually, I don't know how old he is. I guess he's quite a lot younger than me, but like he's a very mature young man.
That's brilliant.
I think the issue with TikTok is they only see you as the BOC character. They don't see the person behind it, obviously. And I think that the fact that they only see this TikTok, it's easy to sort of like just say whatever you want, because they only see you as sort of like a person on TV, or like a Simpsons character, essentially. I know that one of my personal favourites of yours is the Ned Flanders one with the that's one that I did like, and the one I've seen recently. But obviously we know Pete BOC, but we don't really know the person behind him. We know you're a teacher, and obviously you're a father as well. But like, how are you behind this, and behind the obviously all the chants that like we don't really know you as a person, do we?
I suppose not. I mean, I've tried to bring in elements of my friends, so I've done skits and things like this. So there are very rarely I don't get the time to necessarily, because they take a long time to record. But I've done skits. I've got a lot of friends who are Aston Villa fans, and I try to incorporate how I am with my mates. I have to be a little bit careful because I can't do things like drink beer and swear and things like that, because I've got that teacher platform. I can't, I have to be a little bit sort of careful about certain elements of my adult life that I can't really present on camera. But I do sort of try to introduce, I am genuinely a PE teacher, like I do teach PE. But in terms of asking me how I am outside of TikTok, work-wise, I'm ahead of year. So one of my primary roles is to support students with mental health problems, with all sorts of issues that kind of come with being in that position of I'm the person they come to when they have an issue. Whether it could be bullying, it could be they feel sad, it could whatever. So there's a pastoral side to myself that's kind of quite caring, I would say, and I would like to think that's something that I'm very good at. Outside of here, it's just a normal lad. Like, I just see my mates, we have barbecues, like we hang out, we sometimes go out. Like, do you know what I mean? We go to the footy, just a fairly normal, relaxed person. Like you said, I'm a father. He's 2.5. He's amazing. I absolutely love him to bits. I've got my wife. We have a house. We live here in Bristol. It's been a big move. I live away from my family now. Like, my best mate lives in California. One of my other best mates lives in Germany. So I get to do a little bit of sort of traveling around, seeing those guys. I love Dr. Pepper. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Mate, I love it too. Honestly, I've seen them videos, and I was like, I'm on that vibe as well. One thing I will say is, though, there is one thing that's a little bit weird by what you said, is that having barbecues in October. I think it's a bit late for that in the season.
No, I think you might have meant in the summertime, mate. That was
well, I tell you what. So when I lived with one of my best mates, one of my Aussie mates, he's a real good bloke. He's such a good fella. He and I counted how many barbecues we had in a year, and we got to 38. But I was like, that's pretty good going, 38 in 1 year. Because we had this really, really random day. It was 2nd of January. Gorgeous. It was so freezing, but it was so sunny. And we were just like, can we have a barbecue? And he was like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, sound. We just loved it. It was just, let's be honest, it was an excuse to drink. But
absolutely. Yeah, but we gloss over that fact, can't we?
yeah. We'll gloss over that.
Is there any sort of message? Obviously, we talked about the people who got to you a little bit, and is there any sort of message to them now, the people who sort of maybe dislike your content, who maybe hear this for the first time, hear you for the first time, and anything to say to them? Or
yeah, it's tricky. I don't want to be sort of too preachy or anything. I think what I would say to anyone is, if you don't like Liverpool, you're probably not going to like me, and that's fair enough. That is because we do, but there is a reason we have rivalry. I don't like seeing Alex Ferguson on TV. I'm not going to lie. I don't like seeing it. It's as simple as that. So I completely understand why people dislike me for the Liverpool connection, and I also can understand why, when I do things that are a little bit out there, people are like, why? What? Look at you. Look how old you are. Why on earth are you doing that? Blah blah blah. But actually, it's just entertainment. It's just something that I think is quite fun and funny and silly. And if you don't like it, that's okay. Like, that's completely fair enough. But I'm not forcing you to watch it. Exactly. And if you want to send me some comment to kind of say that I'm really bad, I'm kind of like, fair enough. That's just your opinion. I'm not going to stop. It's not going to make me not do it. I've had that moment we touched on earlier at the start of the summer holidays where I was like, I might stop doing this. I might back off. And now I'm kind of like, no, I don't think there's anything that you can say that's going to make me not do this. And even when the day comes when Darwin Núñez leaves Liverpool, I'll just do someone else. I'll just do someone else. Like, the boat will keep rolling until I'm ready to stop. So, yeah, I've got nothing but respect for people's opinion. I just don't want people to say nasty comments to me and try to build up a profile that I'm in any way weird, strange. Why am I a PE teacher? Why am I this old doing these kind of things? It makes no difference. I'll tell you the only thing that kind of gets under the skin a little bit, and this is the only people who get blocked on my TikTok, is when they say things that are a little bit out of order. Like if you cross the line, things like, how can you work with kids?
Yeah.
No, you've crossed the line. No, like that's kind of saying, oh, just because you do something that's a bit strange or a bit different, you're now inappropriate. I'm like, no, not having that.
No, that's completely understandable as well, mate. Back you 100% there. There's just some weirdos about, isn't there? It's just something that we'll never be able to get away from.
If I can ask you guys a question, so you ever had like a job in Tesco or a customer facing role ever?
Yeah, definitely.
you know what it's like. The general public, most of them are sound, but about 1 in 50 is an absolute belter, and you just kind of have to accept that's what they're like. And you just kind of go, okay, no worries.
I guess it's a good way of looking at it. I never really looked at it that way. I suppose online is pretty much the same thing, isn't it? Where, like you say, a lot of people are lovely, and then you just always get one or two, don't you, that just come out of nowhere and just say silly things, don't they?
Whilst I'm here and we're sort of on subject with that, I would quite like to sort of thank you guys and also anyone else. So I've recently talked about hate, and I've had so many lovely back-in messages, and loads of people have said such sweet, meaningful things to me. And I can't reply to absolutely everyone, but I'm like, I do see them, I do read them, and I do really get touched by it. Like, I don't want to get too emotional or anything because it's not that deep, but it genuinely means, no, it does mean a lot though. It does. So it's really nice to have that back-in and see those followers growing and be like, okay, I've actually got a lot of good support as much as I might have some negatives.
Right, so now we come to the part of the show that I've really been waiting for, really looking forward to. We've got Pete on, so the best thing now is the chats. Pete, they are brilliant. I absolutely love them. Obviously, they've done you a favor doing brilliant stuff on TikTok now, as we've mentioned in the show. I'd just like to start off with, what is your favorite Pete BOC chant?
Honestly, the first ever one. I think my favorite one is "You Are Joel, Joel." I absolutely love it. It's possibly because it's the only parody that I've completely done the entire track. So it's not just the chorus. I've done every bit of the song, and I've got to be honest with myself. It's the only time I've ever kind of gone, give yourself a little pat on the back, piece, because you've done well there. Because I generally love that one. If you want to go into Darwin ones, I'd probably say 27 Reasons.
Well, all right. Well, that's my unpopular opinion, popularized. But just to say, I think that's my missus. She's sat upstairs now. I think that's her favorite as well, the Joel Mattip one, which is superb. And Dom, if you haven't seen it, mate, obviously you've seen the shorter version, but he has done a full version of the entire Spandau Ballet song. And it's absolutely brilliant, mate. Give it a watch after this. Give it a listen.
Yeah, absolutely. What's that? Is that on YouTube as well as the TikTok, or is it?
It's on. Yeah, it's on both. What I like the most about it is if you're a bit geeky like I am, lyrically, if you put the lyrics side by side of the original and that version, I've done a good job. So
I can confirm he has.
I know that's incredibly big-headed. I'm so sorry. But
I was proud of something. Then go for it. I can't.
You've done well there, Pete. You've done well to squirm that in there. So yeah, that's on YouTube or TikTok, whichever you prefer.
But I had an unpopular opinion that I thought was unpopular, and then you've just done it there. The Darwin chant that got me into Pete BOC was the Darwin Nunes song, Alice DJ, isn't it? Yeah. And that was the one that I was like, that's it. And I thought that would never be topped, Pete, to be honest. And then out comes 27 Reasons, and now I can barely remember that one now because that's the one. It's in our group chat. It's everywhere. I sing it all the time. You should have heard me when he scored against Arsenal the other day. I saw you put a TikTok up before saying any Liverpool fans who've been singing it. I was like, this has probably got about 40 videos of me singing it. So, yeah, the 27 Reasons one for me, mate. That is, I didn't think that the Alice DJ one could be beat. I was like, that is my favourite Darwin Nunes chant. and I'd hear it in the turnstile anytime. And
If
then
it's,
27 Reasons.
if it makes you excited to talk, Cal, I mentioned that the Joel Massive one is the only one I've done the full song. I've completed 27 Reasons. I've done it this week, but I just haven't filmed it yet. But yeah. I kept listening to the song in the car, and I was like, I don't know any of the chorus. This was the verses. This was about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, I really must learn the song. This is a song that I have to perform quite regularly. And it wasn't very hard to do, but yeah, full versions coming to me.
You performed the songs and you didn't even know any of the lyrics. You just knew the Liverpool lyrics, and then you just
it's a throwback, isn't it? Isn't it a sample of a really? Is it Destination Unknown?
Yes,
but it's Ella Henderson now, isn't it? With I think it's a David
Guetta
or someone. But
I wasn't sure if Destination Unknown was the original or not. That's the one. So when I was at uni, well, you guys say you're at uni?
Yeah.
5 or 6 years ago, not right now.
We was, yeah.
Okay, cool. When I was at uni, I did get to DJ quite a few times, which was really nice. It was really awesome experience to do that. And so I'm really into kind of old school clubland classics, old school dance music, things like that. So I think Destination Unknown is the original, but it may well be wrong. But obviously it's been remixed so many times, or sampled, I should say, that particular element of the track. So yeah, that was when 21 Reasons came out. I was like, oh, another person's done sort of a cover of this, shall we say. And yeah, it was the elements of the song that I just knew really, really well.
But I feel like that is the one for me. Obviously, the Joel Matic one, I think that's got to get a revamp with the fans. That, you know, I think there's just something to it. I feel like anyone could give it a go. But the Darwin Núñez one as well. The 27 Reasons, I could hear that, and I'm not even just saying that. I could hear that being sang about seriously, and I think it should be. I love that one so much.
Mate, I'll tag you in when I do the full version. Obviously, the thing that's interesting for myself about the 27 Reasons is that it actually could work. It could work. It's so good, the original Darwin Núñez, but because I got so slated, particularly for that first one, a lot of Liverpool fans, especially the hardcore Liverpool fans, were like, "This guy's a belter. Like, I'm not interested." Like, and it was very much, no, would never ever do it. Whereas now I've started to win people round. I'm like, maybe one day we'll hear this or hear something.
Keep it teasing, I reckon. Keep it teasing. And then...
Quick one, by the way. Is that a podcast official, a podcast exclusive that 27 Reasons is getting a full song revamp?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, yeah.
No
one else knows about it because I only finished it like literally earlier this morning in the car because I've got to practice. So it takes me about 25 minutes to drive to work, right? This is how sad I am. And I'm in that car and I'm like absolutely belting them out. Like, I know I've got to practice. I've got to get the rhythm because I get slated for the rhythm. You know this. I've got to get the rhythm right. So yeah, that's an exclusive. I'm going to do 27 Reasons full version. I'll probably release it in sections because TikTok doesn't really like 3-minute videos. So yeah.
Come on.
And speaking of exclusives, you know, right now, Cal, I think that we need to give Pete our sort of Pete BOC-esque chance. I did ask Cal, should we do it centered around one? Oh, there we go. There's a Liverpool top coming out right now. For audio
it's got to make an appearance.
For audio listeners on Spotify,
excited.
Is that what shirt is that? Because obviously I'm not well versed with Liverpool that well.
This is the Liverpool away shirt.
Right.
This season.
That's the away shirt, is it? We've got our own chance for Pete to judge. Cal, do you want to go first, a second? How do you want to do this?
I think I want to go first and get it out of the way.
Okay. Are you getting stage fright?
Yeah, a little bit. This was tough, to be honest. But yeah, Pete,
Cal, before you start, if it helps, because it might help, when I do mine or when I do any cameos, I reckon it takes me minimum 4 goes.
4 goes.
No.
So if you make a mistake, I'm happy for you to start again. Right. So no pressure.
Right. So the way that we're doing this for the audio listeners, obviously, the YouTube video listeners watchers can see this. We want Pete to sort of be the X Factor, the Simon Cowell, but hopefully not as horrible. But yeah. So
maybe later Simon Cowell is a bit nicer.
Yeah. how we're going to do it is we're going to do it, and then Pete will give us a bit of feedback. And then once we've both done it and had feedback, Pete's going to declare a winner. And probably a little graphic for one of us with a trophy or something.
And also, if you do enjoy it enough, they aren't copyrighted, so you can nick them.
I think he might pass personally.
He might be like, yeah, I'll put it in the drafts.
I might start a screen record now on my phone. See what I get. Oh,
God. Right, so, well, my name's Callan. I come from Warrington, and I'm 26. This is Ibrahim Kanate to the tune of Don't You Want Me, Baby. He'll have you at the back. He'll have you in attack. Kanate is ready, lead us back to glory. Ibrahim Kanate. Ibrahim, oh, Ibrahim Kanate. Ibrahim, oh. Yeah, I'll have that. That's all right.
Good, mate. Well done. That's brilliant. Well done. That's really good.
With a cold as well, that's impressive.
Shall I do feedback once you've gone, Dom? We'll do them individually.
Oh, do you want me to go now? Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Hi, my name's.
We'll kind of play you off each other a little bit with the feedback.
That's fine. My name's Dom. I'm 26, and recently my mum did stub her toe on the door, so that's my sad backstory too.
Go easy on it.
Yeah, please. This is for Mo Salah, and this is Wannabe by the Spice. I'm getting nervous now. If you want to be Mo Salah, you got to play on the wing. Crossing it to Nunes, that's our newfound thing. If you want to be Mo Salah, you'll have to play on the right. With Elliot Carvalho Nunes, the future's looking bright. There we go.
Yeah. That's very good.
All right,
I'm nervous now. My heart is racing.
I'm just laughing to get the energy out.
Well done. Honestly, yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? It's like you guys performed it very, very well. Here's the honest feedback. So, Callan, I think yours was really well delivered. There was definitely a lot of passion in there, and it's very on point to do Kanate. Well done. So that's really good. Dom, yours, by the second time you'd said, if you want to be Mo Salah, I already knew what you were going to say. So it's very catchy, like very poppy. Really like that. Got a lot of time for that. Might even steal that one a little bit.
Yes.
Get in there.
You're made
overall winner. That's a difficult situation that you guys have put me in now. This is not very fair.
I edit the video, so whatever you say, it's going to go towards me, I think.
You're just going to get him saying Dom from earlier in the podcast and just...
Yeah. When it is Dom.
There is.
I tell you what, Yeah, I'm going to give it to you, Dom, actually. Well done.
Oh.
Yeah, I think... sorry, Cal.
Give me that,
I think honestly, it was a very, very... Both of you did really well. Like, I could easily make those chants and see what people think. But, yeah, I think Dom's just that little flowier and, like, a little bit more kind of catchy. So, yeah, enjoy them both, though. Thank you.
Give you that one, mate. I'll give you that.
Yeah, I'll take it. And I honestly, I'm still got the adrenaline going now. I can't sing, and I definitely don't sing in public. So to sing in front of two people, I'm like, oh, fucking, here we go, right?
I can't sing it. It's all good.
So that I would let myself calm down a bit after that one, I think. But Pete, I think having a look at it, mate, I think that pretty much wraps it up. So I would just like to say on behalf of both of us, thank you so much for coming on. We were so excited to have you on and thoroughly enjoyed how the pod's gone. Hope you have as well, mate. And obviously you're welcome back anytime. We'd love to have you on again. It'd be brilliant. So yeah, thank you so much, mate. Hope you've enjoyed it. And thank you very much again.
Yeah, guys, if I can just also end on sort of saying thank you, obviously, for inviting me on. It's been a great experience. Really good to meet you both sort of properly, even though it's obviously not in person, but like, you know what I mean? It's lovely to meet you both superstars. I'm sure this podcast is going to go really, really well because I know how much energy you're putting into it and how much effort goes in. So yeah, I'm just going to keep plugging you and keep sort of recommending you guys to everyone to see. Thank you very, very much for having me on. Really, really honoured to be here with you.
Appreciate
that,
mate.
And like we say, anytime you're allowed back on. Is there, obviously you can nick our songs if you like. If you don't, put it in the draft's absolutely fine as well. Is there anything to plug? Is there anything to follow on the
coming
song?
from me?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, right. This is thank you for asking this question because no one ever asks me this. So here are some things that are coming up on the program, should we say? I've already told you that 27 Reasons is getting an exclusive. I have worked on a James Bond skit featuring Darwin Nunez. That's going to happen. That might be up by this weekend if I can get the recording done on Friday night.
I love this.
And I've mentioned this once, but I'll sort of plug it a little bit here. I have already created at least 6 or 7 Christmas football.
I've seen this.
So yeah, so some of them are based on the World Cup being at Christmas. They're not exclusively Liverpool. They're all football teams and all football players involved in it, except United, obviously. So yeah, looking out for Pete BO Christmas.
Oh, yes. Well, what a way to finish that one. Pete, thank you so much, mate.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
All the best with all of that. We'll be following it all the way, mate, supporting it all the way. Cheers, Pete.
I really appreciate it. Yeah, take care, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, see ya.
A big thank you to Pete BOC for joining us here on Cal and Dom Talk Nonsense. Thank you very much, Pete. We'd like to welcome you back anytime, mate. Dom, I think it's time for our favourite feature of the week. Moving swiftly on.
Absolutely, and like you just said, thank you to Pete for coming on. But we got to carry on with the show, aren't we? You know, and this is for our favourite segment of every week. And let me just zoom in on our faces. Have you got your? There you go. Or for audio listeners, we've just zoomed in our faces. Have you got your random player of the week?
I have.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Random footballer of the week.
Leroy Lita.
Shaka Hislop.
Random footballer of the week.
Pretty close. Pretty good.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that one. That might be my favourite little matchup so far. That just to go on to last week, we had Juan Pablo Angel versus Zat Knight last week, and as I thought, it's not good for our Zat. The votes were 80% to Juan Pablo Angel.
80%. Come on.
Well done, mate, and well done to Juan Pablo Angel for joining that incredible looking list, may I say.
Absolutely fabulous. Now, if you guys want to vote for this, it will be on our Twitter page. And last time, I do apologize. It was my fault. I only put it for a day. I will put it for a few more days than just the one because we got less votes than we did last time because of that. That is my fault and my fault indeed. I got 2 in a row, though, which I'm pleased about. Juan, what a lineup that will be. You put Juan Pablo and Zaki up front with Chimbonda right back. We're making a good team, aren't we?
Looking good. Looking really good.
Bit of a technical issue. Oh, it isn't nonsense if you know if it isn't on this show. To be honest with you,
correct.
Absolutely. I think it's shaping up to be a good team. I think it's shaping up to be a very naughties team. To be honest with you, and I think that sort of sums up our the way we are as because we're middle age, you know, middle 20s, aren't we? Middle age. To some people, maybe steady.
But that's it. But I think there's so many players from around that time that I think because the quality was so high, you forget so much about these players because there's so many really famous ones that will always be remembered from that era. But some of the teams around that time, I think we said it last week, the Portsmouths of the world and the Charltons and Wiggins. And there's so many players, and I think that will go on forever, that random footballer, because there's so many. I've never struggled once. I don't know about you. I've never struggled to pick one.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah. I only struggled last time because you picked one of mine.
Well, yeah.
I was like, oh, Christ, I need to think of something else. No, but I think yeah, what it's going to be weird in like 10 years' time for people in our positions doing something like this, random football of the week. They'll be like, oh, Brennan Johnson. You're like, oh,
yeah. Oh God, no!
Oh dear Lord! Right. Okay. So next, I think we're on to the next one, which is the Nonsense Hall of Fame. Nonsense Hall of Fame. And there it is, the beautiful, beautiful graphic from audio listeners on Spotify. And also, please check us out on Spotify. We are on there, and it will be there at the same time as our YouTube channels, my own personal one, and also ours collective together. Cal, I think you should go first on the Nonsense Hall of Fame. But first of all, nearly forgot about it. We did do a poll, didn't we, last week as well?
Yes, we did, and we have the results for that one as well. A little bit tighter than the random footballer of the week, but Tyson Fury, as expected, did come out on top with 60%.
I can't even remember. I can't remember what I said. To be honest with you, I heard yours, and I was like, "Well, that's the one." I'll just think one like in the box. To be honest with you,
it was Jed Spence.
That was it, Jed Spence. Yeah,
he was beaten, but it was a decent little poll, and yeah, well done to Tyson Fury. Well done to him, mate. Much deserved, I think.
I think out of all of his title accolades and careers and sort of his wins, I think this one is up there, isn't it? I think that
it's gotta be.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, if Tyson, if you're watching, just subscribe to us. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Little over there for you as well. So, Cal, if you want to start the proceedings on the newest inductee nomination for Hall of Fame, nonsense-wise.
Yeah, and it was an easy one for me. Watching the game yesterday, my nominee for the Nonsense Hall of Fame goes to Premier League referee Michael Oliver. I watched him officiate the Liverpool-Arsenal game in a fashion that I can't really find words for, considering he's supposed to be one of the best in the country, or the best, really. He gets given all the big games and trusted with so many games. I think over the past few seasons I've realised he's not. He's just like the rest. Bang average, terrible, ill-informed decisions, doesn't use VAR how he should. I think because of his stature in the rankings of Premier League referees, he's probably one of the ones for me that doesn't like to go and double check, and he likes to go off his own decisions a lot more than others, which some cases you'd argue might be the right thing to do. But when you've completely missed something or made a completely erratic decision on something, then that's when you've got to be looking to your mates and saying, "Are you going to help me out here?" And he doesn't do it. He didn't do it yesterday. He missed a clear as day handball.
Just to clarify, Cal, what game is that?
The Liverpool-Arsenal game from Sunday, 3-2 to Arsenal.
Okay.
Early doors, a penalty wasn't given for Liverpool. It was a clear handball. I think everyone's in agreement. Then Trent Alexander-Arnold's now out for a while due to an absolute shocker from, I think it was Gabriel Martinelli with the, just stood straight into his ankle. You can see it bend slightly he managed to play on for a little bit after, but came off at half time. Not even a free kick, never mind a red card, no inquest into whether it is going to be a red card, didn't just strayed past it. And then, I could sound biased saying it, but a very, very soft penalty given to Arsenal as well. So, yeah, ran over, but Michael Oliver, and I hope he gets in it because he deserves to be in there.
I think it's not just Michael Oliver. I think it's just referees in total. I don't think there's this handball rule. There's no actual there's no consistency with it. Look at Marcus Rashford as well. He clipped it with his hand and just about grazed it. It didn't make a difference for the goal. And then you have this Kamaka goal as well for West Ham, where it clearly hit his hand, and he knew it hit his hand. He just stopped and didn't even celebrate. And then he gave it a goal, and he was like, "Oh, sound! I'll just celebrate."
Yeah,
it's not just Michael Oliver; it's just Premier Leagues in general. And my God, Cal, if you ever watch a Championship game or League One or League Two, my God, it gets worse and worse.
I believe so. Yeah,
because they can't just hide behind VAR anymore in them leagues. In general anyway. So they see it firsthand, and there's at least one a game where there's a horrendous referee decision. To be honest with you. So yeah, that's a quality inductee nomination. To be honest with you, I think that Michael Oliver, was it just Michael Oliver, or is there anyone worse than more nonsensical?
I think the nonsensical thing about it is that it's Michael Oliver and he's top dog. Yeah, and he's still just as bad. Is he
the top dog now there?
I think so. Yeah, he's pretty much he's the one that gets the big ones, and for a time when he was coming through, rightly so, he got his way up there by being a good referee. And then,
Yeah.
you know, Nick's, I feel like sometimes you let it get to your head a little bit when you get into that position. I remember Clattenburg did a similar thing when he got the big gigs, and yeah, they're all the same.
Well,
Don't like them.
Clattenburg did well in the side main game, to be honest with
Mm.
you. Not to send off Speed, though. That's an outrageous decision. And I think
Yeah.
that needs to be talked about more. VAR in that game must have been mental. Didn't you say he spent 17 minutes offside?
Yeah, in the game.
He was only up for 7.
He should have let that goal stand, though, because that was goosebumps when
Just
he put
for
that
the
ball.
sweet.
Yeah. Have you got your nomination, Dom?
I do, and hearing yours again, I think that, you know, but I did make a video on this guy today, especially today being Monday, and it's come up in the light of West Brom indeed sacking this man. It's Steve Bruce, not in the sense of him having a poor time at West Brom and that being nonsensical in itself. I think the fact that, you know, anyone could get sacked at any point is, you know, I don't laud and I don't applaud a man being sacked of his duties at all, but I think it's the fact that he plays this sort of victim card now, and I think the fact that he's now in this sort of trench with Pardew and, you know, Kirbishley and Nigel Atkins, the sort of merry-go-round of managers that go in that sort of cesspool at the bottom. And I think his time at Newcastle at the end, he was sort of playing this victim card, even though he got 8 million in compensation. He could have easily have just left it and been fine with it. If I got 8 million in compensation, that would have been absolutely fine. People started to feel sorry for him, and then obviously got this West Brom job from Valerian Ishmael last season, and you think, you know what? Prove yourself then. If you're a good enough manager and you think that you had a tough time at Newcastle, West Brom, you know, it's a free hit this season. You're in 13th place. No, they were in 6th at the time. You know, quite you know, the Ishmael regime at the time was poor for West Brom going down just then, and I think right now it shows that maybe he was doing a good job, because right now, as it stands, West Brom are 3rd bottom in the league, 1 win off 13. And he's got nothing to blame but himself. But again, he's still in his post-match interview blaming the fans about his substitutions. He said that the fans were behind the team, but they weren't behind me. And you know, I made these decisions because of this, that, and other. And I was like, well, you've won 1 game in 13 in the league this season. There's no one to blame but yourself. And I think it's complete nonsense, to be honest with you. And I think Michael Oliver versus Steve Bruce is going to be probably the closest one we've had in a while, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that Tyson Fury obviously won it last week. Let's have a look at who won it the week before.
Mark Lawrence and
Harry Maguire. They were quite clear favourites in that regard. And I think that this one between Michael Oliver and Steve Bruce, it's going to be a close one.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one. I think it's, like you say, evenly matched. I think both of them have every right to be in there, and I imagine at some point down the line probably will be. So, looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and again, like I say, with the Random Hall of Fame. Sorry, Random Hall of Fame. I got them to call.
I knew one.
That's nonsense. 1 week ban. 1 week ban. That's the other card. Random Football of the Week. I do apologise because I did only do it for a day. I will do it for 2 or 3 days again. I'm sorry. Okay. And I'll put them on Twitter on the midday around when this comes out on Thursday, doesn't it? So it'll be on the Friday. Yeah. It'll come out. Now, I think what we're going to do, unless I've missed something, Carl, we're missing anything from that little chat?
No, we're done with the Hall of Fame. Now I think we're going to take a question.
Yep, absolutely. So, Carl, you have the question, don't you?
Yes, because it comes from my old man.
Friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod, my old man, Alan Nickley, wrote in to send us a question to get our thoughts on. It was basically just a broad one about the 5 sub rule, what our take is on it, and how we think it's affecting the game. Because I remember sat with him watching the football the other week, and he was saying, you know, with the 5 subs, it sort of takes away some of that jeopardy from, you know, being able to go for it and like resting players and things like this. But I understand in a sense of player welfare, but I remember when you had 3 subs, there was so much to that. If you had to make your last sub early, the rest of that game, then you're praying that nothing goes wrong for your team. And it added a little bit of drama to it. But I'm not sure. I think with the 5 sub rule now, I think it's made it a bit easier for managers, really. I remember when Conte in the North London derby, when it was falling to pieces, he just brought 4 really good players on from the bench. You think, I don't know, I get it, but I do also get the point of it's a bit not sure how if it helps the game that much in the sense of an entertainment value. I don't think.
Yeah, and this one could also lead into like Gammon thoughts a little bit because it's a very traditional view. Because obviously back then they had 0 or 1 sub, didn't they? And you just got on with it, get on with the game. You know what I mean? Like just get on with it, get up, and get that magic sponge on and run about. But I think even Sean Dyche mentioned it a few years ago. The fact that it went to 5 subs, it helps the bigger teams because they have the bigger squads, and I think it ultimately does because, like, when you look at teams like Burnley in the past, they don't have the squad depth that say Man City, Liverpool, Tottenham, all the top 6, top 8 have, and they've used their players in the best way possible to the most efficient way possible, and now because the team has more money, they're allowed to put on these players with 5 subs rather than 3. And I think the fact that it's now an actual law in the game that you can make 5 subs, I think it's 3 times you can make a substitution, or is that changed? I think you can make 5 subs in 3 goes. Is that? I think that's right.
I think it is something like that. Yeah.
But it's still 5 subs. You can put on. You can have much bigger depth in your team, and I think that for the lower sort of Premier League sides, especially, it's a much of a hindrance more than a positive. And I think the fact that I think your dad's right. I think the jeopardy has been completely lost now. I think what's the point in you can make a sub after 30 minutes and it's absolutely fine. You remember back in the day, if you made it first half sub, if it wasn't due to injury, everyone heads go. Like, exactly. And I think the fact that now we're looking and you make a 30-minute sub, you're like, yeah, sound, because we could got 4 more on the bench. Like, there's 9 people on the bench. In fact, like, it's absolutely sound.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the only positives you could say is you could bring in more youth in your team. You could bring in more sort of developing players, but that's only for the lower level teams in the Premier League. So I think he's absolutely right in that regard.
Yeah, I think I agree. It's something I haven't really thought about too much. It sort of goes a bit by the wayside, but then when you do think about it and you think about these 5 subs, you think there really is a lot more for these top teams now. And like you say, if you've got a Burnley team or a team like Burnley, a team towards the bottom who are scraping a result at a really good team, and then they go, hang on a minute, we'll just put 3 big guns that we've had on the bench on there, get a few goals, and then it's put it to bed. And so I think, not sure how I am with the 5 sub rule. See how it goes for a bit, I suppose, can't you? But
I get it, but it feels very Americanized right now. I feel like it's almost becoming roll on, roll off. But the show must go on like the football goes on. And right now, somehow, Cal, this is still going on. This is still surviving.
Oh, God.
And to be honest with you, I think it's the last week. I think it has to be the last week. I think it's overstayed its welcome.
Yeah, I was sad to say. I think last week I was we was going through it, and it's sort of like we dragged through it, and I was like, yeah, I think it might be time now. And I never thought it would. I thought it had always managed to creep its way in and just get in the back door and get into the pod. But I think it might be time to
absolutely.
To
just like you'd say, Sean Dyche and Burnley, just about every season they sort of survive and they're absolutely fine. However, I think this one, it is its last season. And I can't even be bothered doing the chant anymore, but I'm just gonna throw it out here again. And thoughts, not quite Brexit, but if you hear it in the past, then you want it. I didn't even say it right there.
That's a good summary of it.
We'll just leave it on for that. That's exactly my thought right there is Gavin. I'll just keep this on for a little bit longer for audio listeners. I've got the little. It took me a little while just to do this.
Spiraling gammons on the
spiraling into irrelevancy. Look at that. Oh, which one would you? I think it looks pretty dry, to be honest with you.
Yeah, which adds to the. It's quite apt, isn't it?
Really? So this one is from Ben, a friend of the pod. Thank you very much for the comment. Friend of the pod. When people say footballers aren't as hard as they used to be or as soft, etc., as in diving isn't part of the natural game right now. Cal, what do you think about that one?
Yeah, you hear it a lot, don't you? About you do. You hear it a lot that players these days aren't the same as they used to be, and I think one thing that I have noticed, being a football fan in this new era of football now, is that it's actually become. I'm not entirely sure whether it is a player being soft. I think players are a lot more intelligent to getting away with or creating scenarios by acting this way. So I don't think it's entirely that a player's felt the slightest bit of contact and he's actually hurt. I think they're just very intelligent to know that if I go down and roll about here, I'll one get a free kick and I might even get my opponent booked. So I think it does come into a lot of it is intelligence from players. It's not great. It is borderline cheating, really, isn't it? But I do get it. I remember back in the day, you see these tackles coming in, and the way it was brilliant, and it was heavy metal every week. You'd see a mad tackle flying in, probably get away with half of them as well. So I get exactly where he's coming from, and very true. But yeah, I would say that I think these days, as athletes, they're still big, strong, and they're probably superior in many ways. But I think it's just intelligence these days to try and get away with fouls and to get the opponents in the book.
Yeah, and I think that the game has changed rather than the game has gotten worse. I think to say that, they aren't as hard as they used to be, yeah, but they're a lot better technically, aren't they? And I think the game's a lot quicker than it used to be. I remember I watched Arsenal versus Tottenham, but it was 4-4.
Yeah.
That might be right. But it was like prime Thierry Henry and all that. I was like, wow, this is a lot slower than I remember it being, and that's only 20 years' time. I cannot believe how quick the game has evolved in the last 10 years or so. And I think looking back on them, I'm like, I think I could do a job here. But then I realized, oh no, I need to be 6'5" and absolute gammon.
Yeah,
big but unit. I think it did peak around 20 in terms of tackles. When you get away with the one that's like a bit of a clearance, bit of a and not have to be, booked or sort of cautioned or told off every time. I think Anthony Gordon did a challenge last night against Man United, and it was absolutely fine, but his trailing leg was the one that caught him, and it ended up being a free kick. 15 years ago, it would have been absolutely fine.
Yeah, it'd have been celebrated, wouldn't it? I think that's the difference, isn't it? People celebrate it. It's different now. But yeah, no, I completely agree. And like I say, I think it's just intelligent play these days where if you make a meal of it, that the referee only has one choice. If there's a player rolling around on the floor, you've got to give something, or he's at least got to stop play. So
I think that Gammon Thoughts has obviously come to an end. And Cal, I'll give you a little question before we go on to the next one. I've got a pint can in my hand here. Do you want to guess what it is?
What brand it is?
Yeah. I'll give you three guesses. It's not included. This isn't for the quiz. Wait, one sec.
Foster's.
Wrong.
Carlsberg.
I'm not a fucking sex pest.
It's not Budweiser, is it?
It's not. It's just as bad as a cause.
Oh my god!
I know, to be honest with you. But
you just said you're not a sex pest.
Not quite. Are you ready? Are you ready for the nice sound? This is to commemorate Gammon Thoughts ending. I'm going to try and pour it as well, and you can give you 5. You rating out of 10 on it.
Bit of ASMR.
Was that nice? Was that nice for the pod?
It weren't bad, yeah.
Yeah, because I like to have a little drink during the pod, just loosen up. But are you ready? This is in a Carling glass as well.
Carling. Oh.
It's like that thing, it's like Pepsi glass, Coke bottle. I don't give a damn.
Coca-Cola bottle, a Pepsi Max glass.
I don't give a damn. Oh Christ.
Are we?
It's not great, is it?
It's not great. For the audio listeners, Dom's absolutely butchered.
How much of a head do you think we've got there?
That is Steve Bruce.
No, that's Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
If anyone wants a little, there is my beer right in the side there. Now, I think that, that sort of sums up how Gammon Thoughts ended, to be honest with you. And I think that Gammon Thoughts might be rest in peace. And I think next week we'll do a proper ceremonial for it. Carl, any lasting thoughts on Gammon Thoughts before we go into the quiz?
My overwhelming final thought that I'll always remember it by is it's something that I think was a misunderstood feature, and I feel like if it was understood, I think it would be an absolute flyer, but wasn't to be. It might be something that creeps its way back. I doubt it, but you never know. And with features on this podcast, things are happening all the time. We've got new ones in the making that we're thinking about, and so yeah, we'll see. It's goodbye for now for Gammon Thoughts. We'll put it back in the freezer and forget
So
it's there for a while.
Goodbye.
Exactly.
The big blue house. You remember that?
Yeah, the big pink gammon. Should we move on to our final segment of the day?
I don't want to, because Gammon Thoughts was mine, and it feels like a little baby that had to rest. Oh man. Okay, that's absolutely fine. On to the quiz.
Quiz
we
time.
don't right. We do have an actual graphic for the quiz. Absolute nonsense, right? Out of 6, me and Cal are currently at 1 apiece. Oh, look at that beautiful graphic, right?
That is lovely. I like that a lot.
Do you like it? I had to Google today, like classic scoreboard. It looks, what does it look like? Does it look like cricket or American?
Yeah, it's like an old baseball thing in the American films or something, isn't it? It's cool. I like it.
It's sort of vibe I went for, to be honest with you. So I appreciate that. I will ask you the first question, and this is out of 3, so you could get to 4 points. Probably, Cal, going for the last 2 weeks. If we make it to 10 points, my God, at the end of this series, we're going to do well.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance of that happening, but yeah,
My
I like your thinking. Yeah.
My thought process during the week has been like, I'm going to make it easy, but then I'm like, what if it makes it really hard for me? It's like a little I'm playing a quiz with myself before the quiz.
Yeah, it's sort of. I like that it's a bit mind games, but I think the whole podcast we're all nice and laid back, and it gets to this point, you just see a little glimmer in each other's eye, and it's tense. But after last week, Dom, I wouldn't be sitting pretty if I was you, mate, because that World Cup one, oh my God, 13.
Oh yeah, I know. I forgot. To be honest, I forgot what questions they asked. So it's a good thing you said something.
It's time to repent your sins, son. That's all I'm saying.
What? You had. What was yours again? I forgot what they were.
My easy one was the Edison shirt number, wasn't it?
Something
you see so much, but you don't get a lot of.
And by the way, guys, if you want to join in, and also what we're going to do is we want you guys to give us questions below. Just for the crack of it. Also, we want you to comment below what sort of new bits we want. I think we've sort of figured out what our next bit instead of Gammon Thoughts is, and I'm intrigued. We're going to start it next week as well. We'll talk about that.
Yep.
Now, Cal, you've got a minute on the clock to answer me this question. Okay. Let me try and pronounce this right.
Oh God. That's not a good start.
Givanildo Vieira de Souza is better known as whom?
God. I don't even want to ask you to say it again because I don't even know if you know how to say it. What?
It's the first word is spelled Givanildo Givanildo Vieira de Souza. Don't look at your phone.
Don't look at my phone. Is it Juninho?
I'll give you one more guess. It's not Juninho. I've zoomed in on his
Premier League player, is this?
No. That's a big clue, to be honest with you. It's a bigger clue than Givanildo Vieira de Souza, guys. If you wanted... Oh, I've got the music as well.
I'm going to go for Kaká.
I'm sorry, Cal. It's not Kaká.
Who is it?
It's Hulk.
Hulk. God. Right, okay.
Because my thought was during the week, this is the only question I had prepared. I was like, what's Hulk called? And I was like, that's perfect for the pod.
Brilliant. Right. In fairness, I'm glad you didn't say, what's Hulk's full name? So I'll take that over that.
Who
right.
is Hulk currently with? Let's not go into that. That is nonsense.
Yeah. I'll gonna ask you this one. Question 1 for you, Dom. Are you ready, mate?
Yeah.
So Cristiano Ronaldo scored his 700th club goal of his career versus Everton on Sunday. How many goals, however, has he scored for his country? This blew my mind, by the way. I couldn't believe that this was true.
Okay, we've got the music on. I'm guessing he's played like about 140 games for his country. That's a guess. Oh, I didn't realise it went into that sort of vibe. Oh, I feel like I should rap with that. Cristiano Ronaldo played for Portugal with Nani.
I'll take an answer.
I reckon he scored 121.
Oh my God, you've overshot him.
Have I?
Oh, the answer, right? You've made it not as unbelievable now, though. In 191 games for his country, 191, he scored 117 goals. So four off.
You should have given me a leeway at least. I've got you a leeway on one.
Absolutely no chance.
I'm giving you. I actually gave you a leeway on my third question, and you know what? I'm scrapping that now.
That's fine by me. The score is still overall 1-1 today, 0-0 on the quiz. And we start as we mean to go on.
Cal.
Yes.
The Argentinian League.
Seriously.
Do you know who plays in that Argentinian League? Do you know any clubs?
Boca Juniors? River Plate?
Yeah, River Plate. Newell's Old Boys, you know.
Yeah.
How many teams are in that league?
$12.
Wrong.
I'm going to get another guess.
No, I didn't get another guess. What do you mean?
Oh, no, what?
We've
been a bit harsh this week, I think. I think last week we had a couple of goals each.
I gave you another guess. Do you want another guess? I'll give you another guess. Go on.
10. And 10.
There are 28 teams in that league.
Jesus Christ. What is the point?
And then the second, I was like, so there mustn't be a second division then. There is a second division, and there's 37 teams in that league.
Really?
What? Surely just divide them. Just make 4 leagues.
I'm fairly certain they could do that with great ease as well.
Very easily do that.
Just before this next question for yourself from me, music. Can we turn the music down a little bit? It's just all in my ears. Great song, by the way. Absolutely brilliant song. I'd like to hear what people think.
It was at 60. It was at 60, Cal. 40.
That'll do me.
35. Okay.
Are you ready for your second question of the evening?
Yeah, it's going well, isn't it? I think next week, Cal, should we try and get 3 points each?
Yeah.
Okay, that's absolutely fine. Right.
Okay, so question number 2 for you, Dom.
Yes.
Bayern Munich legend Oliver Kahn's reaction to Dortmund's last-minute equaliser has gone viral this week. But how many Bundesligas did he win for Bayern in his 14 years at the club?
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay. Okay. So, in 14 years, when did he retire? Let's think of that one first. He probably retired around 2007. Stuttgart won it 1 year, well, -1. In his 14 years at Bayern.
Yeah.
I think Dortmund won it in 97, and we'll say like 4 more. What does that mean? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. I'm gonna go with. I don't even get a leeway. 6.
Turn that bloody music off because your heart's about to break. You've gone for 6,
Yeah.
and the answer is 8.
Oh. So I'm guessing that like Schalke won it one year, maybe. Stuttgart won it in 2005. Dortmund won it in 1997, did they? Because it was under Paul Lambert, but they were in. Oh, am I getting that wrong?
I really thought you had it because you'd worked it out. That you'd worked out 2 that I'd read, and then you said, "Oh, I'm 4, so what does that make it?" And I was like, "Well, that makes it 8, and then we have a winner."
Oh no!
God, I'm gutted.
Did I
Mate.
just
I'm
calculate it wrong? Go on, who was the other 2?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't even see. I saw that a couple of them, and then I just read that he'd won 8 league titles in 14 years. For Bayern Munich, maybe it was a bit of a more competitive league back then.
Well, definitely was, because you had Leverkusen in the 2000s. You forgot about. I forgot what then. No, it makes sense. I would have definitely said more than. I would have said less than 8 because Leverkusen got to the final with like Ballack and all that. You know, like that sort of era. Oh wait, shit. Ballack never won a trophy, did he? Or did he never win a Premier? Something like that, weren't it? He never won something. Like he never won with Germany, never won with Bayer Leverkusen, never won the Champions League. It was like you got to every final, but that's like this one you probably will get this one, to be honest with you, Cal.
Well, I hope so.
As it's 0-0.
Yeah.
How Alexander Mitrovic? We're closer to home, aren't we? And I think this one I've said, right, I've put 2 difficult ones there. You could guess them. How many goals did Mitrovic score last season in the Championship?
Oh, God. They're always the worst one, these, because you've read them a million times. And
it was a record-breaking
season.
The next best goal scorer was for 24.
Was that Dom Solanke?
Dom Solanke at Bournemouth. I'm going to wrap this part because I'm white. I'm joking.
Is it 42?
It's 43.
Oh my God.
And yeah, that's it. And if you weren't so harsh beforehand with the no leeways, I would have given you that as well. So you've cost yourself a point there, Cal.
But it's all in.
Guy Whittingham for Portsmouth.
We're here for high standards. That's what we're here for. Are you ready for your third and
Till
final
next week,
question?
by the way, when we're giving each other 3 points. Yeah. Absolutely spot on 3 points.
Yeah. Right, ready?
Oh, God, right. Yeah.
You could get
I like
this.
I like this. Because when you get one right now, it's like it actually feels like a win. I can't believe we got one in the first week.
This might be easy. You might, if you've done a bit of research, this might be really easy for you. But right, Erling Haaland scored his 15th Premier League goal this weekend. But for which club did he make his first professional appearance?
So it wasn't Mould. Begins with a B. He went Mulder, Salzburg. I'm just going to go through the rest of his history. Then he went to Dortmund. Obviously City. It's in Norway. Is it called Braun? Braun?
I don't know what to do here. Because
I said it wrong?
It's wrong, but it's nearly right.
It's like B. Is it a B?
I'll just give you. I'll give you another 30 seconds to just figure something out and put a final answer because it's too tight. But you're so close. You're so close. But I can't give you what you just said. Do you know what I mean? It is ramping up in here. Do we have a point? Do we have a scorer? A last-minute hero? live on Cal and Dom Talk
Because he played for
Nonsense.
the second team as well for a little bit.
He sure did.
Yeah, but he only scored like 2 in the first season.
He didn't score a goal for the first team. Not in the league, anyway. In 16 appearances.
He's got 0.
0 goals in the first team. I think he got a couple in the second team.
The first letter I've got wrong. 4 more. Is it an M at the end? Brown? Braun? I think I'm going over the 6 seconds now on it.
Right, here we go.
Bram,
Gotta
Bram,
give it to me.
Bram.
Pause it and spell it for me. Just tell me what you think, because I might even be able to give it you without pronouncing it right.
B.
Yeah?
I.
Yes.
Oh no. A.
It's not, no.
UAM, UAN, something like that.
He played for Bryn. And I had to Google the translation.
Oh,
I knew it'd be something like that. It's
How'd you spell it?
Bryne.
What are they in, like the second division or something?
Second tier of Norwegian football. That's tough, that.
That would have been such a good clutch.
Oh, yeah.
Bryn,
I'd have applauded that.
Bryn.
Okay. Because I thought when you said like Braum, and I was like, if I'd have just looked at it without looking at the pronunciation, I'd have been like, oh, maybe that's what it is. But Bryn.
Bryn. Bryne.
Yeah, Bryn.
Oh, mate. We've
drawn a blank again.
We were so close on them last ones as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think many people would have got that unless you are maybe a City fan that's just seen it, or because who would have known? Fuck.
That's
so close. Bollocks.
I wouldn't have minded 1-1 there as well. That'd have been fair, but we've both hit the
give
post.
each other one, or is that seem like hollow now?
I think we both. The disappointment speaks for itself, doesn't it? It's back to the drawing board, and let's be a bit nicer next week. We've got that out of our system now.
Yeah, I think we need to be a bit nicer to ourselves, don't we?
Yeah, definitely.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm like, Haaland plays for which team?
Yeah. Let's get the scores up.
Yeah, get the scores up. Make ourselves a bit better.
But I enjoyed it nonetheless. It got the brain cells flowing, definitely.
Exactly.
That wraps it up for this week, I think.
It absolutely does. And I think that the fact that obviously we had Pete on today, we thank you for him for being on. We've been on this part for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
In the chat to like go back a little bit, we thought, oh, you know what? We have Pete on for half an hour. We could be on for like half an hour as well. He can be on for 45 minutes, but it's absolutely fine. And I think the fact that we've not actually spoke about anything football, we just talk about our little segments, so it shows how our little pod's going right now, and whether it does well, does it does bad, it doesn't matter. We're here for the fun of it, and we're here for the nonsense as well. So guys, if you all want to please subscribe to the channel, it is much appreciated. We do appreciate every single subscriber that I've seen that Charlie Skeggs has just subscribed to our channel as well.
Yeah, just a big, massive thank you to Pete BOC for coming on today. It was great to speak to him, learn a lot about him, and we had a lot of fun as well with him. So just made up to have him on, and can't wait to have the next set of guests, whoever they are. And yeah, looking forward to the next few episodes, mate.
Absolutely. And we will see you all next time, next week on the Cal and Dom Talk Nonsense Pod. See you in a bit, guys.
See you later.